There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Brilliant, Allison. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly now. Thanks for
Oh,
joining.
my phone on silent.
Yeah,
It's the
do you
last
know
thing you
what?
meant
I
to do.
better do the same.
Oh, sorry now, I'm late. Everything's just, I was waiting on one phone call all week, and of course, it comes like at 5 to 12. I'm like, oh my God.
Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. It's
Always,
always going to
always the way, yeah. How are you keeping?
Yeah, good, actually. Yeah, good. Did the first one of these with Luan there yesterday.
Yeah, I watched it online. It's already mentioned on our practice manager group
Oh,
already.
great. Oh, great. Yeah, no, it was
There
good.
you go.
Luan was brilliant. I
Yeah,
fumbled and mumbled my way through it. But look, it's a fun thing to do. And
it is. Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah,
agreeing.
no, not at all. I'm delighted. I think anything like this is great. In terms of communication, it's always been an issue. And this practice manager group that I'm with, I'll talk about it a little bit if you want me to, just how it
Great.
came together for support. Because there's never been any support for anyone like this in 2019. And it's just grown and grown. We had, I think, 38 ladies, and now we have 102 male and female, I'm happy to say.
Wow.
So it's just taken off completely, but it's instant. You put something on a WhatsApp group that you're kind of stuck with, or you just, the HSE have changed something, or rural's gone to this, or, and you just whack it up. And, within a couple of spaces of a couple of minutes, you get an answer, or they'll put you in touch with someone who knows an answer. So even for that type of thing, it's great. And for new practice managers coming into the role or falling on the role from having an admin role like myself, it's amazing. Yeah.
And Allison, that's really useful to know. If there's practice managers out there that aren't currently on that WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
how would they go about joining that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, and you're quite happy to put my number out. Everyone has my number for some reason. Everyone does. I get phone calls from people in Donegal I haven't even known. Everyone has my number, so you're quite welcome to put the number out if you want, and I'll send it on to Sabrina or Margaret. They tend to run it between the two of them. But I would
do just so that you don't get a load of spammy text if we put it online.
Yeah, well, sure.
We might put up like a contact email or something that people can do, and then we'll forward their number on to you.
Perfect. No, that'd be great. Yeah, and look, we're growing all the time. We're not taking, we're not turning anyone away as long as you're a practice manager and you need the help. Now, we've had this conversation a few times. There should be like an A and a B group, because the B groups are kind of the learners and they're asking questions. And then there's like, maybe I'd say there's probably about 28 of us that have been in the field a long time and come through the ranks. So we'll be very much the nitty gritty of things, So, but look, it's for everybody, and the purpose of it was a community that was set up in 2019. I'll go into it on the chat after, just an invitation we all got to ProMed. I won't say ProMed, and we all just end up exchanging details, and it just snowballed. And I think I don't know if ProMed got any business that day, but we definitely made.
Oh, really? Well, you can say anything you like on this. There's no restrictions.
Is there not? Okay, no, that's great.
I know it's like anything that we talk about, they're just personal opinions. It's not financial advice. It's just you and I talking, shooting the proverbial. But that sounds like a wonderful organ. That sounds so brilliant. What we'll do is we'll put up a link or something like that we can forward them on to you, and then people can join. And I presume then the kind of stuff that's in that WhatsApp group is pretty much whatever people are struggling with, because PMs, it's kind of a lonely job. Like you're kind of.
It is very much a lonely job. It is definitely like you can be anything from anything. So you could head in the door and you go, okay, there's 5 things I need to get done today. But when you come in the door, regardless what time you start, whether it's 8, half 8, 9, the alarm could be going off. You could be down admin staff. You could have somebody who's literally just had a bit of a sore throat and now all of a sudden they're COVID positive and staff member. You could have a GP where their printer is jammed. It just could be anything. It's literally everything. Anything and everything happens. And for me, I think I'm 25 years in medical. I started off filing paper files. That's how long it is, in 2003. And then went from that up to admin, to senior admin, with practice that grew and grew. And then it just snowballed off then. So in 2012, then I found myself in a role where my practice manager had retired and I was pushed into this role, which I took. And a new young baby of 1.5. So thankfully, I had good support at home, and I was able to do that, because it just escalated then after that. So loads of experience, from working from small GP clinics to big GP clinics, all walks of life. Also, lovely to see, admin like that. They come in through the ranks. They start off
Yeah.
Start off slow, start off the learning, and then all of a sudden there's 2 or 3 years behind them and they're the healthcare assistant, they're doing bloods.
Brilliant.
You know, it's lovely. I'm very team orientated, and I think a good business and a good team starts with that. There has to be that. You have to be encouraging, you have to be supportive. And even though you might have something else happening on one part of the practice, it could be something else. You might have one of your team are having a tough day, GP, nurse, admin, whatever it is. But I think, especially with COVID, you probably found that yourself, Sean, that it was tough on everybody. But I found the team building really excelled when we got everyone as a team to come together and get to know each other personally, outside of work, inside of, because we had nothing else.
That was it. Can I ask?
That was it.
Like that's see you've probably seen huge changes in general practice over the last number of years. How long have you been in the practice that you're with currently at the moment? How long have you been in that practice? And have you always been a PM in that practice, or
no, the practice that I'm currently with is two rural clinics at the minute. I have one in Mullingar and one in Edenderry, and they're both owned by the same partner. So the Edenderry one, unfortunately, the GP who worked there for a long time passed away, and then the lady that I worked for found this on her lap from the HSE to get in and look after this place. So she took on another GP. So it's essentially I've two main doctors who run both clinics with me back and forth the whole time. Gotcha. So currently I'm rural, but before that I was North County Dublin. So I started off with Dr. James Riley, former Minister for Health in Lusk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Before that,
Dundalk, wasn't it? Up the Dundalk region, wasn't it, or was it North County Dublin?
Lusk.
That's right.
Yeah, Lusk. Yeah, North County Dublin, Lusk. So that's where I started off in 2003, and obviously grew up with that. So he went off to be a politician, and with someone else stepped in, and then the surgery changed hands 2 or 3 times. So that was a bit of a wake up call for me, because you're literally, changing bank accounts, you're changing contracts, so you're thrown into this, taking on new staff. So I was there with him for a long time, and then I moved to North County Dublin, which again started with a small practice, moved to a primary care centre. So that change again from a small team to a big team. I seem to find myself in clinics where they're small, and they grow and grow and grow. So this is the 4th time now I've done this. I've come in with a small clinic that's looking to grow, and with this company that I'm with at the moment, they want to brand both clinics as under the one umbrella. So there'll be changes coming down the line when all of that comes through. So that itself is something that I need to plan for in advance, as well as keeping the team that I have between both practices, up and running and on the same page.
And Allison, that's right. So first of all, you should definitely take all the credit for the growth. It seems like every time you go to a practice, it gets bigger. So you should definitely take the credit for that. So you're in kind of a unique, I won't say unique, because there might be a lot of satellite clinics and stuff that practice managers try to manage, but you have 2 locations.
Yeah.
Across. You have to manage staff across 2 locations. So I presume it's the same business run over 2 locations with the same staff shared between them, probably the same.
So it's the only shared staff is actually myself and the 2 GPs. So they're small rural clinics. One GP can handle the load for the moment. I have bigger plans for them, whether they like that or not. So they come in and they'll see, the 12, usually between 12 and 16 in the morning, and then the afternoon. What they tend to like to do, and I'm in agreement because I've seen it work, is their session will kind of run from 2 until 3:30, and then after that it's literally serious acute issues that were left over from the end of the day that didn't get looked after, in terms of ones that we'll be concerned about. If you have your palliative care, or someone's having a bad time, or there's something else lingering, or you might have somebody out from the hospital who's concerned about an urgent blood result that's come in. So they'll catch up on their bloods, their post, all of that, and then they will be there to look after anything that falls in at that time of the day until 5 o'clock. So the work load and the I suppose the structure of the day, I agree with, because I find that it does work. You will get patients. I find you get patients ringing less often as the day goes on. They don't tend to ring after 3, because they know there's probably no hope of getting an appointment. I tend to keep 2 emergency slots anyway. That's just the way I've always done it, because something always falls on your lap, involuntary admission, something like that. And at least you have that wiggle room, regardless what type of patient it is, medical card or not. I'm very much, everyone gets treated the same in my eyes. That's the way it is. A patient is a patient, and I've always been that way. It might have been a government day where we didn't make much money, but then the next day we might get a lot more private. So the structure of the day for the 2 GPs is that in both clinics that I have currently. The rest of the staff are all based where they're based, and they have no interest in flipping over, which is a 30-minute drive. So hopefully it won't have to come to a point where I need to do that. But in terms of my role, I tend to slip into that. So if I'm down in admin, one of them, I'll change whatever day I'm supposed to go to and go there. So I have remote access to as well. So if someone, let's say my nurse phones in sick Sunday evening, then I'm on straight away that evening online to call the patients through the phone app as well. I do find since COVID, I keep going since COVID, but maybe I haven't moved on from it, because it works in terms of contacting the patients and having that constant communication, I suppose, with everyone through the WhatsApp groups and having that one-to-one remote thing. So to come in on a Monday morning knowing that your nurse is not coming in and not have to deal with ringing 18 patients at 9 o'clock when the phones are ringing is just pure hell to me. So I tend to like the staff to come in the morning, quick meeting, nurse is unfortunately sick, here's what we've done, I've gone in touch with XYZ.
So that's interesting. Let me just interrupt for a second. In a second, but so do you do, because I know restaurants do this. I was watching a series on TV recently called The Bear. It's gotten big into cooking, but a lot of restaurants would do that before service. Like they'll have a quick huddle, like a quick team meeting when they get people together. So do you do that before the clinic opens, where you just?
I would do that if something's changing for the day. So if they're coming in expecting to be a normal working day, and all of a sudden we're down a doctor, I'm not going to be stressing them out on a Sunday evening. I'll try and get in there, sort the problem out. They come in then, and what I would normally do is send everyone a quick message at 8, maybe. Let's say they're due in a half 8. I hope everyone had a weekend. Quick message. We're down Dr. Such and Such. Can anyone get in 10 to 9 so we can put a plan in action? So they'll come in then. I'll put the kettle on. I'll have a bit of chat and all that. It's all about being open with them too as well, and so they can approach it. I find that's the way I've just felt, the way it's been with staff. So once they know there's a structure in place, it's been handled, and this is what the plan is, we're good to go then. And then there's not that stress. Stresses to me, no one else. There's no stress then at the end of the day, and GP might take a workload off someone else. We might be able to book routine stuff, put that down the line, and I've already kind of jiggled that around a little bit. So the pressure isn't there then when they come in and the phones are ringing. So
it sounds like, I mean, it's such a cliche, but it sounds like what you've done and managed really well is that communication. So like people know to let you know in advance if they can't make it in. If you know it's going to be a shitty day, you make sure that everybody else is on the same page so that everybody knows what's happening and they can kind of row in together. And it's that kind of team that you've built. That seems like that it sounds like you've got a really tight team there that everybody kind of rows in for everybody else.
Yeah, well, I'm building the team that I have. I'm only there a few months, but yeah. So when I get it, when I get everything the way it should be, that's the aim, is to do that. I think I've done that in most of the clinics where I've been, and I just find that it does work, because I learned through COVID with, the HSE would announce something on the 6 o'clock news on a Sunday, and then all of a sudden we're coming into work on, oh no, it's changed again. And you're straight into that mode. So I suppose I'm probably still in that mode, because I did find that it worked quite well. But in terms of practice management, it just structures everything better then as well for your day, as in my day and everyone else's day. And I think if you have a good team under you, I think you're halfway there really, because you can delegate a bit more, and you can rely on the team a bit more. Like, you're only one person at the end of the day. Like, you're responsible for from the head GP down to the cleaner. Everyone's coming to you. The balls are all in the air. I always say that, and whatever ones are on fire the most, you need to look after them. The rest will stay there till you get to them. So you do have to prioritize what you need to do in terms of the day that's landed on you. So my perfect example there of coming through the door at 8:30 and then been down XYZ, you might have come in, you might have had a sense that you wanted to come in and do, okay, well, look, I'm going to check up on the Garda vetting, who needs their Garda vetting done, or who needs, where we are with our CDM claims, and you want certain things that you'd like to do during that week. But that could all be pushed to the side for 3 days until you fix what the problem is in front of you, and then you're back in again to try and go through that.
Can I ask, Allison, just do you find recruitment challenging? I don't mean for GPs, because like that's just a nightmare. I suppose trying to get the right people, but like, have you been? Because what part of the country is your practice in? So I didn't ask whether they're 30 minutes apart, but what part of the country?
Yeah, so one is in Mullingar town, just like outside that, Carewell, and then the other one is the medical centre in Edenderry.
Okay. And do you find it hard to attract like admin support? Or have you been pretty lucky so far?
At the moment, okay so far. When I took both practices on, they had a small network that worked well. There's one or two have kind of come, but the main nurses and healthcare assistants and the senior admins are still there, which is great. And they have a couple of years, experienced senior admins, so I can kind of delegate a lot with them if I'm physically not there, or if I'm due to be there that day in that office, working with them. But I'm needed in the other clinic because we're down staff. Then I can communicate with them all. Then and I'll do video calls with them at lunchtime from one to the other if they're stuck for something, or yeah. Okay, at the moment, but I never really, in fairness, that practice manager group that we're on it should be just a recruitment agency as well, because it's great, because it's very much, you need an admin for antenatal cover for 9 months, 2 to 3 years experience before we go to the platforms for Indeed or whatever it is that you want to go with. You would normally know a lot of practice managers or GP clinics in the area when you're, I suppose, as long as myself, you have 5 or 6 that you could kind of text and go, would you know anyone of? I only had that actually last week. I had a GP clinic, a lady I used to work with, GP clinic in Swords, down in admin, and I haven't worked with her in about 10 years, and she sent me a text, do you know anyone who's... So I literally had 3 CVs in for her in the space of 2 days, and then by the 5th day she had someone hired. That was it. She was on her way and gone.
It's amazing, and that support is wonderful. Like, and people need it. Yeah. So I'm just conscious of time. And the last 2 minutes, I can't believe them chatting. So I could chat to you for ages, right? And hopefully we'll talk about more. But I know you've got a lot of stuff to get done in the practice. So any top tips or any recommendations for any PMs listening that you've kind of come across in the last year, or like the big take home, I guess, is the WhatsApp group, because that seems just to be a huge help.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's and they're a great bunch. They're so supportive, and you could have had a bad week. You could have, is it a full moon tonight again, or the patients seem to be narky. The admin are out of sorts. Everyone's just in a bit of burnout. So you do the usual things that you would normally do, and maybe that's not working, and you're like, oh. So even just am I having a bad day? Is it everybody? And then 9 times out of 10, everyone's in the same situation. It's just that lull of that time of the year when you're hitting that. And it's nice to have that support, because you do go into a lot of burnout, and you take it home with you. You may not mean you do. Whether you think you do, you don't, you do, because you're thinking of things that happens during the day that could have dealt with that better, or you're thinking of an admin maybe, or a nurse or a GP is having a bad time of it personally that you're aware of but no one else is aware of. So it's always constant there, and you have to be the manager, you have to be the work pal. There's a lot of hats that you have to wear, and it's important to get them right, because if you don't, I do find in my experience that people will chance their arm with you a bit more, and the latecomers on a Monday, the person who's always looking to leave early on the Friday, where everyone else is picking up the slack, and that's across the board for them all, So it's quite a lonely position, because you can't really, gripe off to anyone. Maybe the head GP, if you're close, maybe so, because they'd get it as well. But you can't really do that, because you're meant to be professional, and you're meant to have that look that you have everything. All the balls are in the air and everything's working, well. So when you're by yourself, you're kind of thinking, you do. So that the support is really needed. It's badly needed, but it is there. That's the main thing. Between the WhatsApp group, and GP Alley is great too. Also, there's loads of support now. There wasn't anything like that, I would say, 10 years ago. Absolutely not.
No, and I just want to say, Allison, like we can leave it there. I'm just very, very grateful for your time. Thank you. Thanks for joining on today.
No problem.
WhatsApp group. thank you also for using billing and for being a customer of ours.
Oh, we love that's a game changer. We absolute game changer. I absolutely love it.
It's a bit of product placement, but
no, it's to be honest, Sean, it is. It's brilliant. And you get patients, you might look at a patient, you might have them years coming to you, and they could be in a situation where they're financially stuck, and you're not going to be, you have to be work it both ways. You can't be, so I'll put the bill up. You can say, oh, listen, my card's not tapping. Oh, you might have a problem with your phone today, or it could be our system. I tell you what, why don't I just send you a little link to your phone, and you can link in later on when you have 10 minutes when the kids are in bed and sort that out, or sort it out next week. It's always going to be there. It won't go anywhere. Pay it when you can. And then that's it. So they got the peace of mind where they're not embarrassed that they don't have it there and then to pay for it, but their healthcare needs to be done too. So they come away thinking, okay, I'm not feeling bad about this. We've given the link, and the link, of course, it stays there. You can check it. If they don't pay it, you can look it up, and the reports are there, which are great. So it's made a difference to the patients and the staff. It's made a difference to everyone. I love it.
Oh, sorry, Allison. I'm just going to edit that back. I'll be able to snip it out. Okay. We dropped.
Yeah, you do what you need to do. I'm sure I probably rambled on too much.
No, you're fine. I think what happened, I think the Wi-Fi just cut out for a second. I think we have electricians in. I think they actually just snipped our power cable. But but thank you for using billing, and that's a really good point on the remote payment link, and being conscious of patients as well, that they might need a bit of help in terms of payments.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what you're doing is brilliant. I think the role of the practice manager, like I've said this in the last cast, like it's just growing and becoming more important and more relevant as practices get bigger.
Yeah, but the workload, Sean, as well. Like the workload, if you compare, just a quick one, you compare what was 12 years. Oh, my daughter's 14 now, so 13 years ago. What we're responsible for now is completely, your health and safety, your fire assembly, your yellow bins, like all of that. The amount of workload and that alone, never mind making sure that your staff need to be the support, and that of the GPs need their support.
The administration alone, because there's
administration. It could be two. I've often said that I feel like I'm doing the job of three sometimes. I really do. Like honestly, I swear, and every practice manager would agree with you.
You're probably doing the role of, like, we leave it with this. You're probably doing the role of what the GP, the business owner, used to do on their own.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like when my dad was starting up, the calling the shots in terms of the business. You're doing the employment stuff. You're doing the contractual stuff. You're doing the administration stuff. You're doing the training. You're doing all the accounts. You're liaising with everybody as well, and suppliers. So it's a huge job. But listen, Allison, hopefully other PMs get some value out of this. I know I certainly did. It's brilliant to chat to you, and thanks again for the time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Sean. Look after yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.